We have tried to post this 2 times today. This morning we received an email with the following story. At first we thought it was just that a story. But as I said, this video has been removed 2 times. So please share this with who you can. The story we received. I started out on this path 8 years ago when one of my oldest friends, Gabriel, died of a heroin overdose. I remember seeing his parents in church, sobbing uncontrollably for their lost son. His mother, Donna, had to leave the service. Gabriel's parents would later split up. I haven't heard from either of them in years. I lost so many nights of sleep wondering if I could have been a better friend, what we could have done to support him, how he died alone with only a needle as company. I enrolled in the nursing program at the nearest college and returned home 2 years ago to work at the local rehabilitation clinic, determined that no more of my friends would die like Gabe did. Never again. The first patient was dropped on our lawn Thursday at 5:22 a.m. She was vomiting, shaking uncontrollably and appeared to be suffering serious withdrawal symptoms. We got her inside. She was semi-unconscious, and when coherent she was highly agitated, eyes dilated, suffering vivid hallucinations, screaming about shadows on the corners of her eyes, crawling on the walls and crawling on our faces. When sedated she kept mumbling about a pressure in her head, repeating, "It's so itchy." She could not stop crying. She was very uncooperative when conscious and refused to tell us what drugs she was taking. Though she had stopped crying, her eyes kept watering. After getting her situated we performed blood and urine tests but found no traces of any known drugs. Her eyes kept watering, tears streaming down her face despite her lack of emotion. Finally I decided to check her eyes to see why they kept watering. I put on my gloves, pulled up her eyelid, shone the light to her eye and almost lost it. Her eyes were infested with spiders. Under the intense light they began to scatter, darting shadows, hiding in lashes, ducking around the eyes. They even made a nest in her tear ducts. She was only the first. In the coming weeks we got a flood of patients. Some were former heroin addicts we had previously treated. Their old track marks were fading, replaced with needle marks on the neck, straight into the jugular vein. All of them had the same streaming tears. Most were hallucinating, complaining of intense headaches and pressure in their ears. Their minds were deteriorating into various states of decay and insanity, as well as horrific symptoms of withdrawal. Whatever this drug was, it was strong, and with side effects like this, it had to be addictive. The patients are far too insane and incoherent to be able to get information about the source of the drug. Local law enforcement has been unable to turn up any substantial leads from the regular dealers. The few who would talk only know about some new drug that is taking all their business away, something stronger than anything they can get their hands on. The patients are getting worse. Upon examination we would find the spiders in their nasal passages and sinuses, snot slowly replaced with web-like structures. Some would cough up crawling globules of mucus, the bright green phlegm pulsing with spiders. Others were going deaf, complaining of pressure in their ears and a constant high-pitched scratching. These were the worst. They were so far along, deafened by the noise, that they were not sleeping, some for close to a week, and rotting away before our eyes. I pulled a crawling little spider by the leg from a patient's vomit with a pair of tweezers. I examined its crawling little body under the microscope. It tried to limp off the slide with its damaged leg. They are not spiders, they only resemble them superficially. They are eyeless. Instead of 8 legs they have varying numbers terminating in long tendrils or hairs or root-like structures. Honestly, the closest thing they look like is huge, living neurons. I sat there numb just staring at it. After watching it crawl around I poured rubbing alcohol on the slide and burned it in the metal sink. The smoke smelled sweet, like an incense I could not place. I have not been able to sleep well for weeks. I keep checking my eyes for the telltale crawling, getting phantom itches. I was beginning to lose it and get overwhelmed by the sheer numbers. The clinic got overwhelmed about a week into the crisis. We were all pulling double shifts, inundated by old patients, and old friends. My colleague's brother even came in. We could not slow the tide, so we called the CDC and the DEA. After describing the symptoms, they came within a day. They got warrants and searched patients' homes for the drug but found nothing. Our patient 0 was taken away. Her condition has worsened to the point that we had to restrain and sedate her after she attempted to claw out her own eyes. We have not seen her since. Answers have been few and far between. Our calls have not been returned. We hear given gag orders, and we have noticed, what I believe, to be a surveillance van outside. Frustrated, my colleague Kelly secreted a patient out of our care to a friend at the hospital for an MRI. Their brain was crawling with the spiders. About a month in, we finally got a sample of the drug. A parent of a recently admitted patient found their son's stash inside a slit in his mattress. It was a small vial with an opaque gray liquid inside. Under the light it reflected almost no shine, a dull dead leaden color, viscous like black tar yet not sticky. We kept have to run tests on and called the DEA. We found no traces of any known drug, or any drug at all. What we found was a virus. What people had been shooting up was not a standard 4 drug, it was some kind of new disease that seemed to only transmit intravenously. After injection, the foreign virus enters the bloodstream and crosses the blood-brain barrier. Upon reaching the brain, the virus enters dead neurons in the frontal lobe. Once inside, the foreign DNA begins to hijack dead neurons to transform into small black spheres, nearly opaque on X-ray. These looks nearly identical to the early stages of Kuru. This is not Kuru, it is different, very different. The black spheres are the actual source of the high. A chemical factory in your brain. It releases large amounts of novel neurotransmitters that are able to fit into any and every neurotransmitter site: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, THC, the whole gambit at once. This produces a high that is incomparable. One that is dissociative, hallucinogenic, depressing, stimulating, euphoric and highly addictive. Judging by the MRI results, there was only one conclusion: the spheres were eggs. We realized then that there was no treatment, the only way to stop it was to find the source. In the coming weeks, advanced patients started coming in. These were those on the fringes of society, the lost and forgotten, able to fall the farthest into addiction as they had no one to pick them up. A police officer brought our first late-stage patient in. She was frothing mad, screaming and handcuffed, her neck a hive of needle marks, her nails ragged and bloody, her eyes were gone. Just 2 gaping scabbed holes where they had been, holes still crawling with spiders. Amidst the blood and grime I recognized her. It was Donna. Recognizing her name, she screamed and screamed and screamed. The scream eventually became a torrent of crawling vomit, spilling puke and spiders onto the floor. She began convulsing, her head shaking like a patient in electroshock therapy. We lost her. I don't know how many more we will lose. I said I would never lose someone again. I can't help them, no one can help them, I have failed them just like Donna and Gabriel. I have been calling in sick every day since then, I can't stop crying. I'm afraid and overwhelmed and my head hurts, it hurts so badly. I decided to write all of this down as best I could remember. Fuck the gag order, the CDC and the DEA for leaving us stranded. Just an hour ago I couldn't bear to look at the screen any longer, my eyes were beginning to water. I'm not sure if it was from feeling traumatized or the screen. I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Just now I saw a hint of a shadow dart across the corner of my eye, and just like that, it's gone. Did they lace the marijuana? Stay paranoid, my friends.